countries, these cultures are building these beautiful people that I love so much, that make me enjoy these experiences so much because of the connection that we have. Less than 2 minutes after entering the area, I was like in tears. It's that moment right as you're leaving that you don't even think about how scared you are. You just feel it just for a second. And then all you can think about is the fact that you're falling. And then next thing you know, you're just floating in the air.
If you've ever wanted to understand why we should be asking for nature's help on mindsets, adventures, and more, then you're in the right place. So, welcome to Maximise Nature. Welcome to Maximise Nature. Today's guest is Chloegrace. She's a budding solo traveller whose aim is to see what happens when the only way is forward. The Canadian-born adventurer has used the outdoors to truly understand what it is to be out there. She has travelled all over Asia and even visited Australia. If you've ever wanted to know how different one's experience is to another, then listen up. Chloe lives a life that is always 2 steps ahead, so tune in to see how this is different to your own experience. Chloe is going to talk us through why it is so important to experience new places for yourself and avoid sitting on your phone doom scrolling your life away. We've all been there. Then we can take the good thoughts and put them in a travel bag, ready to use on our next adventure. Here is episode 28 of the Maximise Nature Podcast. Please share it with a friend at the end, and let's get into it. I hope you enjoy. You ready, Chloe?
Absolutely. Let's do this.
Someone you met on your travels had to introduce you to win a prize. How would they, and what prize would they want to win?
Ooh. This goes for probably any of my close friends. They would introduce me as a hardworking, energetic individual who doesn't settle and always has something on the go. I would say, especially right now, someone who really focuses on staying present at all times and valuing what's right in front of me, rather than dwelling on the past or thinking too far in the future. The importance of living life to its fullest extent in the present moment is what I constantly strive for, and that is how I live my life. So that is probably what they would say currently. Always living in honesty. And the prize that they would be, I'm going to say that they would be introducing me for personally, because all of my friends are very different, and to say a generic prize would be very fast. But for me personally, I'd probably say prize for limited hesitation in taking risks. That's been my main focus over the past 1.5, 2 years since I left Canada. And I have very confidently succeeded in stepping forward with limited hesitation. Probably no hesitation. I would say it's almost a problem.
I think the idea that you're very present and it's something everybody in the audience can definitely take away from it. What is it you do exactly? Just so the audience has a wider interest?
Yeah, absolutely. So I currently am mainly focusing on my travels. I do, I want to say dabble. The past year I invested in online business and moved into the digital nomad world, dedicating a percentage of my energy towards that, though it's not my main focus. Currently, where I am right now in Japan, my main focus is my language studies. I started learning Japanese in January.
Cool. Yeah.
I plan to do my next working holiday visa here. So when I'm stationary in countries, I actually work in the service industry. So serving, bartending, barista work, managing, whatever is under the sun in that umbrella. I very much enjoy working with people, being very hands-on, not knowing what the next day is going to bring, and the online business piece is more so just to help supplement my income. So I kind of have my hands in quite a few areas right now, but still learning how to make it work the best so that I can pursue the dreams that I have for my own future.
Leaning on that in the moment then, and that
Yes.
sense of community, I think, is so important, isn't it?
Yes, so true, so true.
What is your online business?
So I work as a distributor with Enagic. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
Can't say I am.
That's okay. There's so many companies out there, and there's so many different opportunities for online business. So they're basically a medically graded water, internationally acknowledged, and they build sustainable, medically graded water filtration systems. And that is essentially what I work to sell. Yeah, it is super cool. And it's a high ticket affiliate sales position. So it essentially focuses on the long-term sales engagement rather than like the short-term, I guess, like more creator style engagement where you quickly present something and then just engage as many people as possible. It's definitely a lot more relationally based. So you work harder to find those people that are looking for more sustainable water resources that can help bring more health to their home and their body.
Why is sharing the journey as you go so important to you?
Ooh, I would say that I actually started sharing the journey of it all because of the people that I love back home. All of them are very passionately invested in the experiences that I have while I travel. And that was originally what motivated me and pushed me to start sharing. And then it kind of evolved from there into a bit of like a personal passion project almost, because I love people. I love connection, and I love relating to others and providing insight, opportunity, perspectives. That's the whole reason why I travel. I find it fascinating to learn about different cultures and, different ways of life and different ways of viewing the world and how we do things and the right way of doing things. And, it's really important to have an open mind. And I think that was where the direction of my storytelling kind of shifted, because I still focus very much on the connections that I make with people and with nature and these places that I'm exploring, but also simultaneously acknowledging and appreciating
sort of like time in the outdoors, making the best connections you can do.
Yes, exactly. Like making sure that I can appreciate sharing with other people the beautifully unique experiences that I'm having. I'm a very big believer that everything happens for a reason, and you're brought to places to learn something, whether it's good or bad. Those lessons that I learn, those reflections that I have is what's been the passion behind my storytelling online.
Lovely. I think everybody in this space has similar drivers, if that makes sense. Because for me, it's definitely the idea of building a community, talking to people. If you couldn't tell, I'm really chatty.
Love it.
But no, but more importantly, it's about building the community. And for me, it's about trying to inspire people I might not even ever meet to get out and actually explore what's beyond your front door. And it's really that sort of changing nature of it, because you can go from one conversation to the next and learn something, but that same something then repeats itself, for me anyway, maybe 10, 15 episodes later, because you will find that it just connects everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You mentioned reflection there. What are the quiet moments outdoors that have really hit home and allowed you to be the adventurer you are today?
Ooh, I love this question. And I will do my best to keep my answer short, but I make no promises. So my connection to nature spawns back to my homeland in Canada. I grew up about a couple hours away from the Canadian Rockies, which if you've ever seen or heard, absolutely beautiful. They're stunning.
Mm.
It's just endless Rocky Mountains with clear blue lakes and fresh air and tons of wildlife and peace and quiet. And it's just phenomenal. So I would say my like very first experience was when I was really, really young. My family has always been very outdoor oriented. And so we would go hiking a lot, camping a lot, very frequently would be living in the woods pretty much all summer long. We would focus on just really soaking up the nature, essentially. And all of those hiking experiences is what is like ingrained in my brain. Even going into adolescence and adulthood, I continue to take that passion and that connection with nature into every single year. And there would be so many times whenever I would get like really overwhelmed or really stressed or really just run down or burnt out or whatever, even if I was burnt out and exhausted, I could just go to a mountain, climb it, and feel like automatically. It was like just getting away from the city, from the noise, from the overstimulation, the craziness, the expectations, the responsibility, all of that. I leave it. I go
Getting
to the
away
mountain,
from it, exactly.
and I'm fine. Like 9 times out of 10, all I need. It's basically medicine for me personally, and I have taken that into my travels so naturally. I'm always called to nature, whether that's mountains or beaches. So I spent a year living in Australia, and I was at the beach pretty much at least once a week, if not every day. It's basically my like home. Every day I'd go take a dip in the ocean, walk along the beach, soak in the sun, and just get that like natural detox, basically. No phone. You just leave it at home and just go to the ocean, and that would start my day quite frequently. It was magnificent. And even traveling through Southeast Asia, every country I went to, I at least did one hike. Not even because I intended to. I wouldn't even think about it before I get there. And then I get to the location, and I'd be like, that's a mountain. And I was like, you could probably climb that. And then I'd like do a little research, and then I'd be like, I'm going to do that tomorrow morning, actually. And that would happen very, very frequently. And even especially, I would say, when I felt like travel burnout approaching, or if I was feeling really, really exhausted or really overwhelmed from like whatever culture I was exploring and stuff like that. I felt this quite strongly while I was in China, because it's very challenging to communicate there. It takes a lot more energy, simply just because it's a very complex language, as many people know.
Yeah.
And would love to understand it more. I was not prepared for part of my trip. Beautiful, beautiful place though. And so as I was getting overwhelmed, I resorted to physical activity, nature, and just like almost, I would say, nature isolation. Like I was just like, get me in the mountains, get me by the lake, get me moving, and I'll be okay. And it took like 2 or 3 days of just like the whole day. I was just hiking, biking, sitting near water, and just reflecting, thinking. And like it was like its own temple meditative space, and it just healed me. And that just happens everywhere I go, so naturally. I don't even think about it, it just happens. So I would say that is a huge fuel. And then I also have just a very deep rooted love and adoration for climbing things, climbing mountains. Being nice. Physical, healthy, fit, strong, and in nature. I don't actually usually care what I do. If it's running, walking, hiking, biking, whatever it is, so long as it's in nature and it's challenging, I love it. I'm all for it. Absolutely.
Lovely. Would you say it's your sort of home away from home, as it were? So obviously you're from Canada, but your sort of second home is the outdoors. So no matter, from what I take from what you've just said, no matter where you are, as long as you're, especially whenever, because everybody does eventually either become burnout or overstimulated, your like safe space is the outdoors, the same way it is for me, the same way, well, not the same way, but the similar idea to what it is for me and other people who are obsessed with nature. And if you're not, or if you feel overstimulated, especially for those listening, just head out and see what maybe even 5 minutes does to change your day, because it will change your day. But yeah, sort of your home away from home.
Absolutely. I would 110% say that it's my home away from home. Anytime I felt, especially when I felt like I was homesick, which didn't happen super frequently, but when it did, it would be really intense, and it would make me very, very sad and somber, and I'd be like very internally focused rather than externally focused. But once I externally put myself somewhere that I could relax and open my mind and let my feelings out in nature, it was just like a flick of a switch, and it would not necessarily like make the homesickness go away, but it would remind me how I could bring home to where I was, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of have that sort of presence that you're actually out there. You're not, because obviously traveling can be somewhat scary, but it's also overwhelming. So it's sort of that comfort blanket, as it were.
Yes, absolutely. And especially in so many countries where everything is so foreign, nobody speaks your language, or, you don't have any food that you're familiar with, or the housing situation is like extremely different. Toilets are really jumping. That happens a lot too. It's like that kind of situation where you're like going through some different scenarios that you're not expecting, and your survival mode is just constantly on. Being able to find a place where you can just turn that all off. Like China was huge for that. I think China was probably the likeliest country where I went, the only country I went actually, where I was climbing in the mountains and I was like, this feels like Canada. It smells like Canada. It looks like Canada. I was like climbing in the mountains, and I was like, if there wasn't so many like temples in this area, I would be fooled. I would think I'm in the Rockies. And it was perfect. I was like, I needed this.
What is it about your story or someone else's story, especially the storytelling element, that's so important to culture, people, and places, or either one of those?
I think I'm gonna tell a story in order to answer the question.
So, that's fair.
As I've been traveling, a priority I've kept for every country that I visit is visiting either a historical site or a museum of some kind in every single country, because I have a very deep passion for truly understanding the culture and the history, what they've gone through, how they got to where they are now, why they function the way they do. I have a very curious mind, and it's extremely so I feel like there's, especially people who like connecting with nature, I'm like, we're all curious in some way. That's why we go to nature.
Exactly.
But a very sociology oriented in that way when it comes to travel. And through this, it has increased my respect, my perspectives, and also my knowledge regarding the people that I'm interacting with every single day. And I would say the respect piece is super huge, because I very much focus on, being respectful, kind, and generous in every country that I go to, because I'm visiting their home, not the other way around.
Exactly.
It's very important to be respectful in that way. And so through these interactions, and because of my, I would say, openness, I'm quite approachable for many people. And I definitely would say that goes across cultures. I've made friends with quite a few locals, even though we might not speak the same language. Google Translate is a wonderful thing. And,
it is indeed, yeah.
I would say that gaining perspectives from the people who actually live there is the most inspirational thing when it comes to opening my mind more. And every country I've gone to, my perspectives have grown. Even in the smallest ways, it's always growing. There's no way that I go through a country and I haven't had something kind of click or change or, be reflected on. There's always something more for me to learn, for me to gain from these experiences, these places, these people. So I don't even think I could focus on just one of those topics, because all of them are just so intertwined, so intertwined that they can't go without each other. Because as I've been traveling, and even recently, the storyline on my own content that I've created is very much heavily surrounding not just how the people make the place so much better in your experiences while traveling, but also that the place makes the people that you meet in the first place. And that was something that I didn't really think about a lot until I had gotten to like Vietnam, which was after like 6 countries. I was like, oh my gosh, wow. I never really thought about the fact that like these countries, these cultures are building these beautiful people that I love so much, that make me enjoy these experiences so much because of the connection that we have and the authenticity of their character and honesty of the way that they live their lives and their lack of fear of judgment because of the place that helped them get to where they are now, and being able to share what that looks like to me, coming from a completely different background and wanting to share that with them as well. I think that's the most important piece about storytelling, is broadening perspectives and increasing
awareness. Is that what you're trying to say?
Awareness and opening your mind more, being able to remain receptive to new ideas and different ways of doing things, because a lot of people who stay in one place and never go outside or don't prioritize connecting with nature or other people or their community often find that they aren't open to different ways of living, and they think their way is the only way, which is not always true. Sometimes there's a better way. Sometimes there's a different way. And it's simply being able to healthily discuss that with people who are living differently than you. I think it's really important.
The element of respect, because I think that's a key thing that doesn't get talked about enough, especially in the news, because obviously, unfortunately, negativity sells. But it's that element of being, like you were saying, being open, being really, I guess, approachable, and trying to stay away from, I don't know, the like city mindset, if that makes sense. So the 9 to 5, get it done and then get out of there. Whereas for me, anyway, the outdoor perspective is to enjoy it, enjoy the moment, try and make connections. Because for me, anyway, 9 times out of 10, you'll have a better time if you're making those connections, because you won't feel stressed, you won't feel lost, you won't feel as overwhelmed, even though sometimes being in a large community for too long can be overwhelming. I found that when I went travelling to Australia. But no, it's the ability to just be open to new ideas, isn't it, that you were trying to bring to my audience?
Yes, precisely.
How can solo travelling go from 0 to 100 in moments or seconds? And why is it so important to be aware of these changes and challenges?
Ooh. Have a really good example of this.
Go on.
So recently, quite literally last month, I originally had a plan. So before I started my travels through Asia, I had a rough itinerary, and I would plan things approximately 2 to 3 weeks in advance, sometimes less than that, depending on where I was in Southeast Asia, because it's very flexible, very easygoing, very tourist friendly, and very solo traveler friendly as well. Now, don't get me wrong, I had my fair share of run-ins with transit issues or unexpected turn of events or things that weren't really communicated because of lack of communication. Everyone speaks different languages. Not a lot of people speak English, yada, yada. That kind of stuff, very common, very frequent. That's just part of solo.
No way.
Anyone who's solo traveled would just be like, yeah, that's just life. What do you, like, move on? What's next?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that my recent experience with this like rough itinerary, I knew that once I got into Eastern Asia, Northeastern Asia, I was going to have to plan ahead a little bit more, because going through places like Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, not as friendly when it comes to flexibility, depending on what you want to do, how you want to travel, and how much money you want to save as well. So when it came down to it, I was preparing to go to Taiwan and actually cycle around the island. And thank goodness for the company I was renting my bike through, because they messaged me the day before I was to fly there and was like, hey, I don't know if you know, but we actually have a huge typhoon warning coming for this week. We know you want to cycle around the island. We're not sure that's probably a safe idea, but just thought we'd give you a heads up in case you weren't aware. And I was like, oh.
Oh, shoot.
So at that, I know, I was like, bummer. And I was on my way to the airport, like in that moment when they had messaged me this. And I was like, well, time to change my plans. So as I was literally on the bus to the airport, I had about, I think, 12 hours before my like official flight. There was like a long layover in Malaysia before I was to go to to Taiwan. And as I was on my layover, I booked my next flight. And I think that was the most improvised planning I've ever done in my life. And that was why I went to China. So
damn,
avoid a typhoon.
Things happen for a reason then. Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to go to China instead. And this is also something that's really common in solo travel. You know, when things happen that you don't expect, you just have to roll with the punches. And my personality 2 years ago would not have dealt with that very well. But now, you know, they had texted me and I was like, oh, damn. Well, I guess I should look at some other places then. That probably won't be fun. And I just changed my plans, booked my next flight while I was having a coffee at my airport, and the rest is history. I slept at the airport because it was longer than expected, and then went to China. So it happens. And that's a very specific scenario where solo traveling goes from 0 to 100. And I would say that's a good example of like 0 to 100 in like stress level, because even though I handled it calmly, it still stressed me out, obviously, as it would anyone, because it's like, oh, okay, my plans have completely changed. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know when I'm going to go. And I might end up sleeping in an airport for an unforeseen amount of time. And that's just where you have to be adaptable. Adaptability. Huge skill set for travel. I think that solo travelers practice that probably the most, because you're the only one making plans. You're the only one deciding. You don't have to check in with anyone else. Quite literally that day, I texted my parents, I think like 3 hours before my flight, and I was like, oh, by the way, I'm going to China instead. Here's my flight details. I'll let you know when I land. But I didn't really have to check in with anyone else. I almost freaked out a little bit because I was like, this is kind of crazy. I've never had to deal with this before. But after, I think, like a 20-minute conversation with one of my close friends, she was like, nah, dude, you got this. And I was like, I know, but this is strange. This is stressful. So I would say that's a really good stressful example. I could give probably more positive examples of like solo traveling going from 0 to 100. I have quite a few scenarios that have really inspired me, but I would say that's the first one that came to mind. I was like, oh man, good one. Changing country, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fully. To be fair, I've got maybe not changing countries, just changing plans.
Mm,
Because
mm,
when I was in Antigua, I don't even know, maybe 3, 4 years ago.
yeah.
Turns out that, long story short, I was meant to fly back
Mm.
2 days later, come back to Cardiff for my graduation. A couple of days, I can't remember. Before that, the area got hit with a 7.2 earthquake. I'm like, or so I thought. We then left. We left the hotel to go to the airport.
Yeah.
As we were maybe 10, 15 minutes away from the airport, the guy who was driving us literally said, the plane hasn't left the UK yet because of an engine fault, so they need to replace the engine. Giving me pretty much a day to get from Antigua to England to then to Cardiff to then graduate.
Oh my God.
So it was a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah.
But
Did you manage
if
it?
anything, it took. Huh?
Did you make it?
Yeah, we made it.
Oh, amazing. Wow.
But it definitely taught me to be calm and roll with the punches, because I can't lie, for that evening I was stressed.
Yep.
I'd put all this work into graduating, not to graduate. Well, not to graduate, as it were.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
no, it's definitely rolling with the punches. How has the outdoors taught you not to care what people think, like you were talking and touching upon earlier? It's really brought that fearlessness.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that. And oh man, I'm trying to choose what example do I want to use? I would say, honestly, okay, I'm gonna use Mount Fuji as an example. So last year was my first time in
Great example, yeah.
Japan, and my first priority after landing was climbing Mount Fuji. Quite literally, like, I landed in the plane, slept the night in Tokyo, and then left for Fuji, stayed on Fuji, and then hiked the summit twice. It was phenomenal. And the amount of Japanese hikers wearing sandals and shorts and like backpacks, like gigantic backpacks strapped on, and just like hiking it like it was freaking no problem. Same thing happened quite a bit in Indonesia as well, actually, where all of us, foreigners, are wearing like,
to put it nice, yeah.
I was like, that's the right word here. All this gear, we're wearing like multiple jackets, multiple layers, our hiking boots, and we've got hiking sticks and like headlamps and all that kind of stuff. And these people are just waltzing up there before the sun rises in flip-flops, and that's just how they start their day. And it was so crazy inspiring, because especially on Fuji, it was a huge confidence booster, because I had many people that I was interacting with whenever I was like, passing and like, oh, good morning, konnichiwa, how you doing, kind of thing. If they were foreigners, I'd strike up a conversation, because at that point my Japanese was squishy, there was nothing there.
about as big as the altitude, right?
Yeah.
Well, as little as the altitude, sorry.
The altitude was 3,874 meters, I think, is what it is. It's hefty, but from the starting point, it's only like 2,800 and something, so it's like quite easy. Personally, coming from Canada, and so I know that's
of course, yeah. Okay,
yeah, that's not easy for everyone, but the thing, my background helped me a lot. So I'd be like passing all these people, and they were like, goodness gracious, like, why are you running? I was like, I'm not. I'm from Canada. Like, no. It's pretty normal for me. And every single time I would tell them where I'm from, they were like, oh, you're Canadian.
Oh, that makes sense.
And they'd be like, okay, we probably won't see you again, so have a wonderful hike, but nice to meet you. And I was like, oh, come on now, like, have more faith in yourself. I was like trying to cheer them on, and I never. But even then, I had these Japanese hikers passing me in flip-flops, and I was like, this is so humbling. And it was in those moments that I was like, I really don't care what people think. And I love that you phrased that question that way, because nature in itself, especially when climbing mountains, and I'm going to use
Mm-hmm.
hiking as an example specifically because it usually humbles you. And that's why people have a love-hate relationship with hiking, because you have to go through all of this struggle and hardship, and you're sweating and you're crying a little bit internally, and everything
Yep.
hurts, and you get blisters, and sometimes you end up falling and bleeding, and you get scrapes, and there's ticks in your hair, and there's all sorts of things that can happen when you're hiking, and it sucks, but you get to the top, and then there's just this amazing view, and it's almost like, this is a terrible metaphor, but it's like giving
Go
birth.
on.
How mothers forget how much pain they go through to have a baby? It's the same phenomenon. You forget how much pain you went through to get to the top of that mountain, because the view is just, it's amazing. It's mind-blowing. You sit there, you have your cheese and crackers, and it's the best day of your life. And then you go down the mountain and you're like, I would do that again. Even though the whole way up you were like, absolutely not. I'm never doing this again. This is terrible. This is torture. But you get to the top. And you completely forget about it. And while you're going through that, my point is, full circle moment here. My point is, you don't care what other people think. All you're focused on is getting to the top. So you don't care if you throw a 2-year-old tantrum about how much your feet hurt, or how much farther is it going to be, or when are we going to be able to take a break, or the sun is too hot, or it's raining too much, or oh my God, we could die. Those thoughts drown out the care for what anyone thinks, and you just focus on getting up there.
Yeah, no, it's all about just getting there, getting through it, dealing with the hardships, and then enjoying that euphoric moment at the top.
Yes.
Even if it's been a pain in the ass to get up there, it's still been beautiful. It's part of the journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, what's that? What's the phrase? It's not a destination; it's a journey. Really important is, especially with the people who are running past you. It's all about that they're used to it, that they're really, I guess, used to it, to being put in that environment and to dealing with it. Because, to put it politely, people who don't travel, or people who aren't you, I guess it's sort of a metaphor for life. You go through life learning, but you can't, and you can expect to be nervous, scared, worried, because you haven't learned yet. And eventually you'll get a lot stronger, a lot, unfortunately, older. But you'll experience life in the way that you should want to experience it. And obviously, being in my 20s, it is scary, but everyone will get through it. And no matter how old you are, you've still got life to live. So go live it, essentially, is what I'm trying to get at.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that, because it's even that whole dramatic picture that I painted about climbing a mountain and how treacherous it is, it could be said the same, that metaphor for life. We're going through so many challenges, and we're always so afraid of people seeing us struggle. Whereas when you're on a mountain, you don't really care, because everyone's sweating.
Yeah.
You can actually see it, which is the only difference. So, it's funny that we're so afraid of other people seeing us work so hard for something.
And stress, exactly. Yeah.
When we should really just embrace it.
Have you ever had a moment outdoors where you were terrified at an idea? Oh, this is basically what you just said. Have you ever had a moment outdoors where you were terrified of an idea, but really enjoyed turning that idea into a reality? It's pretty much what you just said, isn't it?
Yeah. Definitely. I would say, but I can give another quick example. When I first started, on my way down to Australia, I had left Canada on a one-way ticket. It was the biggest decision of my life. And on my way down, I stopped in a couple of countries before getting there. And while I was in Costa Rica, I went bungee jumping.
You went that way. Nice.
Yeah. Why not?
Sick.
It's
Yeah.
right there. So I was like, and I was
What?
so I was like, I'm just gonna hop down and then go across.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I went to Costa Rica and went bungee jumping for the first time. And I remember the day of, I was like, I did public transit like the whole way as well. I just like navigated their crazy bus system and found my way up to La Fortuna, which is very popular for sightseeing there. It's a great natural phenomenon. Anyways, that said aside. On my way up,
cool.
I had a moment where I was sitting in a cafe, I was having lunch. Part of me was debating if I should even have lunch. I was like, what if I throw this up? And I was like, is this a good idea? Should I be doing this? And this was at the beginning of my like solo traveling journey, so I didn't have as much confidence as I do now. And I was genuinely terrified. Like my stomach was flipping around and I was like, this could go really badly. But I got really, really excited, especially once I was like walking across the platform above this like vast chasm of rainforest.
Yeah.
It's like, well, there's no going back now. I just have to jump. And
it is what it is.
It is what it is. You just gotta touch the air and
send it. Exactly.
Entirely. But yeah, it was. I would say that's a really good example of being absolutely like scared shitless.
Yeah.
Before doing something and then really enjoying it after, getting really excited once it actually happens.
Yeah. I've had the same when I went skydiving. That was
skydiving so fun.
Skydiving's sick. I'm just going to cut it. Long story short, we meant to go in Queenstown, but it got clouded off, which as an English person shouldn't be a thing, but it is. But no, because obviously you need visibility and stuff. And then I was terrified going up to it because I was like, oh, great, what am I doing? I'm quite literally on my own with a bunch of randos. I'm like, okay, this will be great. But walking down, I was terrified. Mm-hmm. And then sitting on the bus, terrified.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh. As we were on the bus there, that's when it got called off. So I had to wait a couple of days, and there was one other chance to do it.
Yeah.
And we luckily did it, which was sick. Literally, as we were going up there, I was just like, you know what? I won't be nervous. I'll just send it. That completely worked. It was great. I wasn't even... I was last one on the plane. Oh. Obviously, with a jumper.
Oh.
Yeah. At like 50... I think it was either 10 or 15,000 feet. We'll say 15,000 sounds cooler.
Nice.
But no, I was not scared at all. And it was just the adrenaline of it, really. And the ability, like, what I got from that was that we are so small and so insignificant. So, again, going back to your previous question, don't care what people think. Just go and do what you want to do.
Absolutely. 100%. I actually went skydiving twice while I was in Australia. And exactly what you described, I 100% relate. I say it's terrifying simply for the sake that, like, it's that moment right as you're leaving that you don't even think about how scared you are. You just feel it.
Yeah.
Just for a second. Yeah. And then all you can think about is the fact that you're falling. And then next thing you know, you're just floating in the air. And it's just... And then literally...
Bliss, isn't it?
Bliss. Exactly what you just said, though. Like, you feel so small and insignificant. And, like, it's just like, you're like, wow, this world is so big. And I'm just so tiny.
So is everybody else. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so is everybody else. But it's exactly that, because it's like people who jumped out like 2 seconds before you are like yonder in the distance. You can barely see them.
Yeah. And
you're like, you were literally just right there. How are you so far?
How are you down there?
It's exactly it. Such an amazing experience, though. 100%.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, the fact I was last in the plane was quite cool, to be honest.
Yeah. The first time
we're just sitting there like, ah, huh?
First time I went, I was the first one out. Second time I went, I was the
Yeah.
last one out. And it was surreal. I'm not gonna lie. Like, experiencing both of those, so crazy. So
exactly. What you were drawing on a lot earlier was how quickly, or like how things are just meant to be. Put it this way, I wasn't meant to go skydiving. I didn't find this out until we were on the bus back to where we were staying. That the only reason I went was because one of the friends I met out in Australia decided to go. Because if she hadn't have gone, I wouldn't have been able to go. Like, okay, sick.
Yay! See, everything happens for a reason.
Exactly, it does.
Why I believe it, because there's just too much reinforcement. There's no way it's not true.
Yeah. It can't be. It can't be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Speaking of things that can't be true, are you up for a game of sweet truths? So, what you need to do is tell me 3 things. 1 truth and 2 falsehoods about an outdoor experience.
Oh.
Either I get the sweet victory of picking the truth, or you get the sweet victory of persuading me to pick incorrectly. Are you ready to play?
I do understand.
Sick.
It's basically like 2 truths and a lie, but like reverse.
Cool.
When I was younger, my family and I would go to BC quite frequently. And we would do lots of different activities. So I'm going to share 3 of the activities that we would do. And we only went like technically 3 times up until I was like 15, 16 years old. But every single time we would go, we would try and like do something really like cool and fun or adventurous. So I've been whitewater rafting near Vancouver, and ziplining through one of the more famous British Columbian forests. And I have been on definitely more than 10 hikes in the mountains in British Columbia, 100%. I actually lost track. Probably more than 20, I would say. But we would go hiking pretty much every day. So those are my 3 activities, and hopefully you can pick which one's true.
If the hiking one isn't true, then you've lied to me the entire podcast.
I'm not going to say anything, actually.
No, valid. What's the second one?
Second one was ziplining through one of the most famous forests in British Columbia.
Did all of your family go, or was it just you?
It was my whole family, yeah.
Nice.
Except for my dad. I think he's quite tall and built, so he was a bit heavy for the machine.
Okay. What was the last one?
Whitewater rafting. Oh, not the last one. The hiking one, or the whitewater rafting?
The first one. Sorry, yeah.
The first one is whitewater rafting near Vancouver.
Has your dad gone on any zip-wires or zip-lines since?
I'm afraid not.
Okay, fair.
He wants to put one in his backyard, though.
What?
Yeah, they're crazy. I think it's more so for the grandchildren. My sisters have lots of kids, so they're like, yeah, right? That's what I said. I was like, I don't know, Dad. I think he did make mention. He was like, I'll finally make one that can hold me.
I'm going to go with the zip wire as the truth. I'll be honest.
Yeah, 100% it is. I'm really not. Lying is my worst trait. Like, I am such an honest person that like lying.
That's not a worst trait. That's a good trait to have, surely.
It's not something I'm good at, which is a good thing. I know. But so whenever these games come up, I'm so bad. I'm so easy to read because I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm also just really bad at lying. So yes, you got it on the nose, especially once you started asking like specific questions. I was like, he's gonna figure this out, no problem. Easy.
There is also have a go at your dad on this podcast. There's no way.
No, absolutely
There's
not. Yeah.
no way. Very cool. If you were to sign in at the Maximise Nature HQ, what's one outdoors-based piece of advice that you would leave on the wall for people to see?
Ooh, I would say always embrace your inner child when you go outside. Like going outside
Yeah,
to play.
100%.
Yeah, like let going outside to play be a thing that continues through all your life.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly how it should feel. Frolic in the
That's
field.
exactly.
Throw sticks at the trees. Do what brings your heart joy. Splash around in the ponds, Name the stones that you pass on a mountain. I don't know, that's what I did when I was a kid.
That's definitely something I've learned from traveling as well. Like, that's how life should feel. Like, yeah, it doesn't exactly, it never goes 100% right all the time because, well, life is life, isn't it? Life is certainly life. But it's all about trying to be that inner child, even as an adult, even when you have to pay taxes and everything. But yeah, it's all about focusing on enjoyment, really, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
And, like, kids are the most fearless people. Like, they just are.
Yeah,
they don't care. They'll just send it.
Yeah, literally. So many times. I see it in my nieces and nephews all the time. My sisters will send me videos and they're like, look at my child doing this really silly thing. That's how they should be doing it. That's how they're going to learn.
Yeah. That's the right way to be. That's the right way to be. Just
I'm like, why are you not doing the same thing? No, I don't get it.
No. But no. When you were or are still solo traveling, what was one moment or viewpoint out in nature that has stuck with you today, so those listening can really resonate with you?
This is very, very recent. Because I'm currently in Kyoto. I came back here. I promised myself I would come back here. Less than a year ago was my first time in September last year. And I went to this one temple. It's called Rengeji, and it's quite outside of the city. It's not super easy to get to, but it's extremely peaceful, extremely quiet. Very untouched, and it's protected by the government as well. It's very well preserved. It's a historic heritage site, and has been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. Very well preserved garden, essentially, is what it is. You can go and sit, look, and if you want to take photos, you can only take photos in one spot, and the rest of it is
cool.
Not allowed.
So it's pretty protected.
Yes,
Lovely.
it's extremely protected. Extremely protected. My friend last year, when I had visited the first time, took me there, and like less than 2 minutes after entering the area, I was like in tears because it was just so beautiful. Mad. So beautiful. It was like it almost felt like something inside me had like opened the doors internally to like air out my soul. It's like the best way that I can put it. And it was so overwhelming and such an intense feeling that I didn't know how else to let it out except for by crying. And I remember sitting there, looking at this beautiful, well-preserved, untouched garden. And it had like a pond and like many rocks just covered in moss, and you could tell that the growth of the environment had just been completely untouched. It was just absolute natural beauty. And I was sitting there looking, and that was the moment that I had promised myself that I would come back to this country. And this is the first country I've ever returned to. And I went there again yesterday, actually, and the exact same feeling came over me. I walked in, and it was just immediately this intense emotion, this intense passion and peace, and just all-consuming content, where I could just sit and process and feel comfortable and safe and also simultaneously overwhelmed by beauty and wonder. And it just makes, every single time I'm there, it makes me feel so small, yet simultaneously so important, because all of these little things that were so delicately put in place have been there for centuries. And even though we are just what seems like a fleck of dust in the universe, we still play a role in making the world beautiful. And I think that's probably why I feel so inspired and so intensely connected to that space. But it's that piece of nature that truly clicked for me, to return to Japan and commit to learning the language and learning the culture more and coming back to work next year. It was a huge turning point for me. So I would say that's probably my most, not necessarily I don't want to say inspirational, but most sincere interaction with nature.
Yeah.
Not just inspired me, but changed something for me. And it continues to, which I think speaks to the beauty of the way it is.
I'm just going to leave a bit of silence there, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
That was perfect. Absolutely. That was so good. Mad.
Really,
yeah,
really.
No, it's definitely. Yeah, that was really heavy. Damn.
Yeah, sorry.
I love that.
I'm a very
do not apologize. You don't need to. But no, it can definitely get like that. I had it when I went to Zambia with, and we were basically out there volunteering for a young girls orphanage.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much the nature side of it. It was more the fact that, hey, obviously people like you and me are so lucky where we are. We just are. But it's more the fact that, for me, how people over there can have so much joy with so little is really inspiring. And I'm like, why am I upset over something? It's literally the phrase, don't get upset over spilled milk. It's not significant at all. Get on with it. But it's more the fact that they're so happy in the way they are and the way they behave, because they have not because they have so little, but they're just excited for life, I guess.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm desperate to go back to Africa. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I will, but I don't know when. God knows
absolutely.
when.
Yeah.
Only he knows. So yeah. But no, it's that whole peaceful, that just so this is what life's actually meant to be, isn't it?
Not complicated, not overworked, simple. Breathe, eat, drink, sleep, love, laugh.
Be like a child. It's that.
Be like a child.
Genuinely. Yeah. Where's your next adventure?
I actually am wrapping things up for the year. I have lots of family visits that are long overdue. So I'll be heading back to North America after I'm done here.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And reconnecting with all of the people that love me and that I love. And meeting some new family members, because I've had some new nephews come into the world. And I know, so cute. I'm very excited. So I'll be reconnecting with Canada for the remainder of my year before I return to Japan after that.
Nice. One last task. Please write down and send to me one nature-based phrase that I must get into my next podcast without my guest knowing. And did you spot the one I put in today?
Ooh. Oh, that's hard. I want to say it was probably at the beginning, but I'm not totally sure.
You would be right. You just have to be right.
I'm because there was one phrase that you said at the beginning that I was like, oh, that's a bit unique. And not a generic podcast intro. I was like, oh, I like that. That's pretty cool. So I would say it was probably something at the beginning, but I can't remember the exact words. But I I know
Don't
what
know.
I'm thinking about.
No, yeah.
But do you mind telling me?
It was literally just changing nature. That's it.
Oh, just changing nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was from Dave Sher, who was the guest I had on before this.
Yeah.
It was his song, basically.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Oh, it's so unique. I love that kind of twist. That's such a unique way to like incorporate your podcast together to have like that continuing connection. That is so cool. I love it. That's so awesome.
Thank you.
Max, you're doing such great stuff. So cool
Thanks.
to meet you and connect. And thank you so much for having me on here. It was an absolute pleasure to chat with you and be able to share. I love this kind of stuff. It's what I live for. So thank you so much. I can't express my gratitude enough.
You're more than welcome. Before I let you go, where can people find you?
100%. Y'all can find me on Instagram at CHLOEGRACETRAVELS. It's very plain and simple, not complicated at all. That's probably the best and the only way that you'll find me, actually. Because I don't actually like social media that much, because I like nature instead. So,
that's fair.
That's the one and only place. I apologize, guys, but I will respond if you try to reach out to me.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Chloe, for coming on. Thank you so much for coming on, for talking about being present in nature, how different cultures are so important to go and experience, and just for being your outgoing self, I guess. Thanks again for coming on.
Oh, it was an absolute pleasure. Again, thank you so much for inviting me on. It was an absolute honor. And I love sharing. I love connecting. So this was truly enjoyable. It wasn't just a one-way street. So know that I really appreciate it as well. And I look forward to listening to more podcasts from you too. So keep doing what you're doing, because I think it's really awesome that you're connecting people this way.
Yeah, so if you listening have really enjoyed the podcast as much as I have talking to Chloe, make sure you drop both of us a follow and tune into everything she has going on. And also, off a little spin-off from my podcast is the Maximise Nature midweek reels that basically talk you through how nature can best benefit you. So if you're interested, check them out. And if you're not, well, check them out still. So thanks again for coming on, and I will hopefully talk to you or maybe see you in Canada at some point soon.
Absolutely. DMs are always open. Feel free to message whenever you're out and about and think that you might be in the same country. I'd be happy to connect.
If you enjoyed that episode, then we have plenty more to offer you. You interested? From a conversation with Paralympic champion Dimitri Coutier about the power of being active, to incredible wildlife conversations and encounters with Dr. Niall McCann. Find out more by typing in the Maximise Nature podcast anywhere, and follow on Instagram at Maximise_nature, that's at Maximise_nature, for a chance not only to catch up on more episodes, but also maximise your midweek. Bye guys!